European Convention on Human Rights, the ECHR, is something I have talked about before on my channel. Now, and so is Justice Secretary Dominic Raab. Now, before I get to what he has said, important to highlight, of course, that we've seen some Conservative MPs pushing for change when it comes to the ECHR. Jonathan Gullis recently in Parliament.
One of the many reasons the people of Stoke-on-Trent, North Kidsgrove and Tork, over 70% voted to leave the European Union, was because they wanted to see us take back control of our borders. So seeing as that we're being asked to feed in some ideas, may I feed into the Paymaster General that one idea is let's get out of the European Convention on Human Rights, then let's scrap the Human Rights Act within this country so that those who are foreign national criminals in this country, who are taking advantage of the system that's currently there, and the illegal economic migrants crossing the English Channel and entering this country illegally, can be deported back very much quicker than they currently are now.
Well, I hear my honourable friend's points, and of course he knows that we now are taking back control of our borders.
The backdrop to this, of course, being that when it comes to illegal migrants, and of course we've seen a surge across from France on small boats, few, if any, are actually being deported. Of course, you had Theresa May when she was Home Secretary, as a Remainer, of course, talk about leaving the ECHR.
The case for Britain remaining a member of organisations such as NATO, the World Trade Organisation and the United Nations, for example, is clear. But as I have said before, the case for remaining signatory of the European Convention on Human Rights, which means Britain is subject to the jurisdiction of the European Court of Human Rights, is not clear. Because despite what people sometimes think, it wasn't the European Union that delayed for years the extradition of Abu Hamza, almost stopped the deportation of Abu Qatada, and tried to tell Parliament that however we voted, we could not deprive the prisoners of the vote. It was the European Convention on Human Rights. The ECHR can bind the hands of Parliament, adds nothing to our prosperity, makes us less secure by preventing the deportation of dangerous foreign nationals, and does nothing to change the attitudes of governments like Russia's when it comes to human rights. So regardless of the EU referendum, my view is this: if we want to reform human rights laws in this country, it isn't the EU we should leave, but the ECHR and the jurisdiction of its court.
So it's in that context that Dominic Raab, of course a Brexiteer, and now a Justice Secretary, talking about overhauling the Human Rights Act to stop Strasbourg dictating to us. Now, this is an interview today with the Sunday Telegraph, talking about the European Convention on Human Rights and the European Court of Human Rights, the Strasbourg Court, which interprets the European Convention on Human Rights. With Raab saying he wants the Supreme Court to have a last word on interpreting the laws of the land, not the Strasbourg Court. Saying just as we have now left the EU, we don't want the Luxembourg Court, the ECJ, overriding our judges. Now, he's saying that the ECHR is imposing too many obligations on the state, warning that foreign criminals' use of the Act's right to family life remained a serious issue, and highlighting that somewhere between 100 to 200 cases a year where foreign national offenders are frustrating deportation orders. Raab, quoted again by the Telegraph, as saying, if you read the negotiating history to the European Convention, it was never supposed to have extraterritorial effect. I think that's wrong, that any court is effectively through judicial legislation, creating new law rather than just applying it. So I think we'll have to look at that. And he also said, I don't think it's the job of the European Court in Strasbourg to be dictating things, whether it's the NHS, whether it's our welfare provision, or whether it's our police forces. So look, it doesn't seem like at the moment the government are going to be leaving the ECHR, but Dominic Raab, looking at this, let me know what you make of his comment. What do you think the government should do when it comes to the ECHR? And as ever, guys, do make sure you have hit subscribe and the bells. I keep bringing you all the very latest right here on my channel. Thanks for watching.